In the quiet suburbs of Seattle, where the rain fell like a gentle whisper against the windows, lived a man named Jack Thompson. Jack was a single dad and the CEO of a thriving tech company called Innovaduck. His days were a careful balance between board meetings and bedtime stories, between spreadsheets and school pickups. At 38, with a neatly trimmed beard and eyes that carried the weight of responsibility, Jack had built his life around his 5-year-old daughter, Emily. She was a bright-eyed girl with curly brown hair, always clutching her favorite stuffed bear named Mr. Whiskers. Jack's home was a spacious modern house on a tree-lined street, the kind with large glass windows that let in the soft Pacific Northwest light. Mornings started early there. Jack would rise at dawn, brew a pot of strong coffee, and sit at the kitchen island reviewing emails while the world outside woke up slowly. The air smelled of fresh rain and pine, a calming backdrop to his busy mind. Emily would pad downstairs in her pajamas, rubbing her eyes, and climb onto a stool beside him. "Daddy, can we have pancakes today?" she'd ask, her voice small and sweet. But Jack couldn't always say yes. His work demanded so much. After Emily's mother passed away 3 years ago in a sudden accident, Jack had hired a nanny to help bridge the gaps. Her name was Sarah Miller, a warm-hearted woman in her late 20s from a small town in Ohio. Sarah had moved to Seattle for a fresh start, with her freckled cheeks and easy smile that put everyone at ease. She wasn't just a caregiver, she became part of the family. Sarah cooked simple meals, read stories to Emily, and made sure the house felt like a home, not just a place to sleep. One crisp autumn morning, as leaves turned golden outside, Jack kissed Emily goodbye and headed to the office. The drive through the city was peaceful, with fog lifting off the sound and the distant hum of traffic. At Innovaduck, the building rose sleek and glass-clad, a hub of innovation where brilliant minds tackled the future. But today, tension hung in the air like a heavy cloud. The problem had started weeks ago. Innovaduck was developing a new smart home device, a hub that integrated lighting, security, and appliances seamlessly. It was meant to be revolutionary, simple for anyone to use. But there was a glitch in the core algorithm, a stubborn bug that caused the system to freeze unpredictably. Data streams would halt, lights would flicker erratically, and the whole network would crash. Jack's team of engineers, 15 of the best in the field, had pored over it day and night. They were experts from top universities, with degrees in computer science and years of experience. They'd run simulations, debugged code lines by line, and even brought in consultants. Nothing worked. Deadlines loomed, investors grew impatient, and Jack felt the pressure building in his chest like a slow tide. In the conference room that afternoon, Jack sat at the head of a long oak table, surrounded by his engineers. Charts and laptops cluttered the space, the room smelling faintly of stale coffee and whiteboard markers. "We've tried everything," said Mark, the lead engineer, rubbing his temples. "Reboot sequences, parallel processing tweaks, even eye-assisted diagnostics. It's like the system has a mind of its own." The others nodded, their faces etched with fatigue. Jack leaned back in his chair, staring out at the rainy skyline. He thought of Emily waiting at home, how he promised to be there for dinner. "Keep at it," he said quietly. "We'll figure this out." As evening fell, Jack drove home under a sky painted in soft grays and purples. The rain pattered on his windshield, a rhythmic sound that matched his weary heartbeat. Pulling into the driveway, he saw the warm glow of lights from the living room. Inside, the house smelled of baking cookies, Sarah's specialty. Emily ran to him, hugging his legs. "Daddy, Sarah and I made chocolate chip." Jack scooped her up, feeling the day's stress melt a little in her embrace. Over dinner, a simple meal of grilled chicken and vegetables, Jack shared bits of his day with Sarah. She listened attentively, her blue eyes thoughtful as she cut Emily's food into small pieces. "Sounds tough," Sarah said softly, passing the salad. "What exactly is the problem with this device?" Jack explained it as best he could without jargon, describing how the hub was supposed to connect everything but kept locking up. Emily played with her peas, oblivious, while Mr. Whiskers sat propped on the table. After tucking Emily into bed, reading her a story about adventurous rabbits, Jack retreated to his home office. The room was cozy, with bookshelves lining the walls and a desk overlooking the backyard garden. He spread out his laptop and notes, determined to crack the code himself. Hours ticked by, the clock's soft chime marking each one. Midnight approached, and frustration gnawed at him. He heard a gentle knock. Sarah, with a mug of herbal tea. "Thought you might need this," she said, setting it down. "You look exhausted." Jack sighed, running a hand through his hair. "It's this bug. 15 engineers, Sarah, the brightest minds, and we're stuck." He showed her the screen, a mess of code and diagrams. Sarah leaned in, her brow furrowing slightly. She wasn't a tech expert. She'd studied early childhood education and worked odd jobs before nannying, but she had a knack for puzzles, the kind from everyday life, via fixing a jam drawer or organizing a chaotic playroom. As she scanned the interface, something caught her eye. The device's user setup screen had a series of icons for different home appliances. "Wait," she said slowly, pointing. "This one here, the thermostat link. Is it possible it's conflicting with the lighting protocol? Like, maybe it's trying to sync temperatures and brightness at the same time, causing a loop?" Jack stared, his mind racing. It was simple, almost too obvious, but in 30 seconds, she'd pinpointed it. A hidden dependency in the code where the thermal sensor data was overloading the visual dimmer queue. He typed a quick adjustment, rare in the simulation. It worked. The system stabilized. Data flowed smoothly. Jack's eyes widened. "Sarah, how did you?" She shrugged modestly. "I don't know tech, but I know kids' toys. Emily's play kitchen set does something similar. If you turn on too many pretend appliances at once, it buzzes and stops. I just unplug one and it resets." The twist hit Jack like a soft wave, not a crash, but a gentle revelation. Here was this woman, hired to care for his daughter, solving what his elite team couldn't. It wasn't about degrees or algorithms, it was fresh eyes, intuition from the real world. He sat back, the tea warming his hands, and looked at her anew. Sarah wasn't just a nanny, she was brilliant in her own way. What Jack did next unfolded over the following days, with the same deliberate pace as the story of their lives. First, he called an emergency meeting at Innovaduc. The engineers gathered, expectant. Jack shared the solution, crediting Sarah fully. "Sometimes, the answer comes from outside the box," he said, his voice steady. They implemented the fix, and the project surged forward. Investors were thrilled. The device launched on time, hailed as a success. But Jack's thoughts lingered on Sarah. That evening, as rain tapped the windows again, he sat with her in the living room. Emily slept upstairs, the house quiet except for the crackle of the fireplace. "You've done more than care for Emily," Jack said, his words measured. "You've been a lifeline for us both." He offered her a position at the company, not as an engineer, but as a user experience consultant, drawing on her practical insights to make tech more human. "No pressure," he added, "but I'd like you to stay in our lives, whatever you choose." Sarah's eyes glistened, touched by the offer. She'd never dreamed of corporate life, but the idea felt right, like a natural step. "I'd love that," she replied softly, "for Emily, and for you." In the weeks that followed, life shifted gently. Sarah transitioned into her new role, still helping with Emily but now splitting time at the office. Jack found himself smiling more, the weight on his shoulders lighter. They shared quiet moments, walks in the park with Emily, where leaves crunched underfoot and laughter filled the air. One Sunday afternoon, under a rare blue sky, Jack and Sarah sat on a bench watching Emily chase butterflies. "Thank you," Jack whispered, "for everything." The ending came not with fanfare, but with the warmth of connection. Jack realized that success wasn't just in boardrooms or breakthroughs, it was in the people who made life whole. As winter approached, with holidays bringing twinkling lights and cozy nights, their family grew closer. Sarah became more than a nanny or colleague, she became a partner in Jack's heart. They married the next spring, in a small ceremony by the lake, with Emily as the flower girl, tossing petals with glee. Years later, Innovaduc thrived, but Jack's greatest pride was his home. Emily grew up knowing love's quiet strength, and Sarah's simple wisdom became legend in the company. In the end, it wasn't the bug that changed everything, it was the human touch that fixed what truly mattered.